Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the Government of Mexico and UNISDR. I represent ActionAid, which is an organization working to fight inequality and injustice. Since I have the opportunity, I would like to say that while we applaud the growing consensus that women are vital aspects of strong and inclusive disaster risk reduction, ActionAid contends that not enough is being done to actually make this a reality. Women around the world face burden of unpaid care work, which often surpasses those of men. This unpaid care work reduces the time, economic independence, and even education possibilities of women and girls. The gendered notion of women's role as confined to the home also impacts both their self-confidence and their ability to be perceived as leaders by the wider community. And we have seen that the challenging unpaid care burdens can even be a cause for violence. All of these impacts are exacerbated in times of disaster. Although not yet routinely measured, the non-economic impacts of disaster on women, in particular adding to the burden of unpaid care, are severe. Women are typically the community members that care for the family members when they are injured by disaster, the journey to seek water from even distant sources during drought, and thus must protect the children from disease despite an influx of flood water. But every hour a woman spends doing unpaid care work for her family is an hour that she does not spend in education or performing economic activities or relaxing or supporting her community to build its resilience and reduce future disasters. This is not just a pity for women themselves, but for the whole community. Women bring unique and vital skills, resources, and knowledge to resilience building. To neglect and empower women to participate, therefore, would result in weaker DRR. ActionAid has found that there are positive ways to reduce women's unpaid care burdens and empower them to engage in and lead DRR. The first step would be recognition, then reduction of unpaid care work, redistribution of this among the community with civil society as well as government playing a key role in sensitization and challenging traditional roles so that unpaid care work is shared between men and women. And finally, women's voices must be represented, with women empowered to speak about their challenges at local, national, and international level, and women's organizations supported and facilitated to raise women's voices. We would like to call upon all states represented, the governments represented here, and the civil society and international community, that they should improve the collection and analysis of data in all sectors of national and local statistics, particularly on unpaid care work and engagement in DRR, with both economic and non-economic measurements of productivity. Governments and international bodies must include unpaid care losses in calculation of non-economic losses from disaster. Governments must provide gender-responsive services and infrastructure that aim to reduce the burden of unpaid work. Sorry, there's no water here, so. Governments and civil society must, at a minimum, aim to take do no harm approach when engaging women in DRR processes, ensuring any additional care or financial burden is limited as much as possible. Thank you, Chair. Governments and civil society must take an active approach in supporting women to challenge negative traditional norms and gender roles, including funding and piloting interventions that aim to shift these norms and redistribute unpaid care work burden. Governments and civil society must fund, support, and empower women's groups and organizations with a focus on building those capacities that enable women to participate in and lead DRR, advocate for their own rights, and participate in collective action around addressing unpaid care. Government and civil society must ensure that women's voices are brought into national and international spaces through dedicated funding support and by creating opportunities for more grassroots women to build their self-confidence and awareness of DRR and resilience. And I would like to add that make it easier for women to come to these international and global platforms, provide them with the adequate support, provide them with the information, visas, and childcare, and all other support. Thank you for listening to me.